Great. Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today, I have Ramona Patterson. She is a mother, an artist, athlete, and inventor. She also does indoor skydiving, and she's a veteran. Is there anything else you'd like me to add to that introduction, Ramona?
No, I'm an all-around happy, peaceful person. I guess I could say that. I like that part about myself is that I like to think that, my happiness makes a difference in the world.
Okay. So, there's a lot of different places that we can go and we're actually, talking because I've seen some of her really nice paintings. I've seen that you do a lot of sports and different things. So actually, why don't we just go back a little bit in time? So what were you doing before you got into the art?
Well, my mother we were always drawing when we were kids. So art has always been a part of my life since I can remember. Um, I was always the person to go to, like, for joke art, things like that. Like when I was in the military, in the Air Force, I had a time when I worked sorting mail and things like that. Well, I was driving the trucks that hauled the mail all throughout Europe. And so I noticed, like, how unsatisfied the guys at work were who were actually having to sort the mail.
Mm.
And so they were sometimes not being very gentle with it. So I made a comedy poster for the office. And that was like my first comedy poster. And it was like, hey, if you're a person who can mutilate a box or shred an important document into a million pieces, the United States Air Force has a job for you, just trying to make light of what looked like a terrible situation. So when the guys would come into the office, they could see that poster and it kind of made them happy in the middle of all their misery.
Uh, yeah. What kind of painting do you do for the people who haven't seen it? How would you describe your paintings to them?
My paintings, I love trees. I do a lot of trees and I love conifers. I live in Florida, but everybody paints palm trees. So I like to remind people of places that they're missing. So I do a lot of, winter scenes, trees, and I do a lot of abstract work. So I love to do wet on wet painting where I'll take a canvas and soak it with water, brush the water in, and then when I lay the paint down on it, it kind of slides around.
Mm.
So the paint will mix without smearing and turning muddy. And so I can get both different colors together to slide around. And I like that a lot. And I'm working on a couple of big pieces right now I love metallic in my work because as you walk by the painting, it's like the painting is almost three-dimensional or alive. It kind of shines at you, and depending on where you're looking at it. And I like to add glass beads, and I like people to touch my art. You know how when you're a kid and you go to a museum and everybody's like, "Oh, don't touch." I want people to feel that need to touch my art.
Mm.
And so I like things that are clumpy and I don't want it smooth and perfect. I like things with texture.
Mm. Okay. So something that's popped in my mind, right? So what got you into doing like indoor skydiving?
Well, I had never heard of it before 2 years ago. And when I turned 60, my daughter always asked me, she's an only child, and she always asks me what I want for my birthday. And we don't do gifts, we do experiences.
Mm.
And there's an indoor skydiving place 40 minutes from my house. And I had just seen a commercial for it. And I said, I would really like to try that. And so we talked about it, but I didn't think it was going to happen because she talked to me about it. She's sneaky. She will plan stuff for me 6 months in advance.
Oh wow.
So she blindfolded me with a bunch of my friends and they took me there. And I just was in heaven because it feels like you're flying like a bird.
Mm.
And I'm just too scared to jump out of an airplane. So that's
Yeah.
like the safest, most fun way.
Yeah. Because I mean, that'd be kind of scary to have it where, I mean, because if you're indoors, right, they're shooting you up. versus from a plane you're going straight down. That'd be kind of scary coming down.
It would be, and as an inventor, I love to read patents. So I read the patent before I actually went flying, before I went indoor skydiving. And it's not just air blowing you up, because that's what I thought too. Like, you don't see fans when you're looking through the screen at the bottom of the floor. It's just vents that you see that are pointing down. So the building, in the architecture of the building, there are these tubes that go, so you have circular air coming into the tube.
Mm.
So you can fly, you can spin, so you can fly up and you can fly down. And there's a guy who actually sits at a control panel and adjusts the air, who works the air for you. So depending on what you're trying to do, they adjust the air to what you're doing.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really fascinating
that's cool.
and it's fun.
What kind of stuff do you like to invent?
Well, my inventions, my granted patents are in the non-wovens industries. So that's diapers, pads, and wipes.
Mm.
So there is a huge problem with adult incontinence.
Mm-hmm.
And like soldiers coming back from war experience a problem when they've had abdominal injuries. It's called urotrauma.
Mm.
So if you've been shot in the belly, anywhere in that area, in your lower abdomen, you're going to have bladder issues. So some of these guys, it's very emasculating to have to wear a diaper.
Yeah.
And my granted patents are it's in a masculine version of a panty liner, only it wraps around the male penis.
Mm.
So it fits like a sleeve around the penis, and
Mm.
it keeps a man from having to wear a diaper.
Oh wow. Wow, that's really cool. That's wow. What
That's
made you
thinking
think of
outside
that?
the box. Sure. Well, my boyfriend, Philip, was dying of esophageal cancer.
Mm.
And every time there's a lot of vomiting that happens.
Yeah.
And so every time he was throwing up blood because of the cancer in his esophagus, I know it's awful, he would leak a little bit.
Mm.
And he's like, oh, great. Now I'm dying and I'm humiliated at the same time.
Ugh.
So I ran into the kitchen and grabbed a Bounty Selecta sheet, got ripped one off and wrapped it around him and tucked him back into his tidy whities, and it worked. And after he died, I know it's a strange story. And then after he died, I almost died. And that experience made me not afraid
Mm.
and of anything. So I'm like, you know what? Why not, try to figure out, see if we can patent this thing. And we did our research, and there really wasn't anything out there like that.
Wow.
They had surgical ones that were like our design, but they had a hole in the end to drain things out of. Like if you had to have surgery down there, there
Mm.
were drains there. So ours, we just created ours to not have an opening to hold fluid, so it handled light to moderate leakage. And if you really were having heavy leakage, you needed a diaper anyway. So
Yeah.
this was more for men to, like I said, not have to wear a diaper, have a product that, made them feel like a man. And the patent covered the disposable industry and the washable industry. So you could make a version like your tie square that you have in your pocket. You could make a version to match that.
Mm.
Like then it became fashion as well as a usable product.
Yeah.
So,
So
but
that's pretty cool. Like, wow. What does it take to become an inventor? Does it just take constantly problem solving, or is it like you just fell into it because you just happened to notice it?
well, I've always been a curious person. Like when I first joined the Air Force, I remember saying to my sergeant, because I was driving tractor trailer, heavy equipment, and we were hauling all this mail in and out on these pallets that fit on the back of a truck. And so you have to, when every time I would, get a truck full of pallets, you would have to use this thing called a tie down strap to tie it down. It ratchets the pallet down so when you're driving around, it doesn't fall off the truck. So I said, why don't we weld these to the side of the truck? And then that way we don't have to, because you had to carry these huge tie down straps, throw them on the floorboard of your truck, and then, you're taking them in and out of the truck all the time. So
Uh,
I think I'm a problem solver.
hmm.
I just like to do things in a smarter way. So I said, why don't we, weld these to the side of the truck? And we couldn't get permission to do it. So it never came to pass. And now if you look and you see on trucks, those are on trucks.
Uh,
Tie-down straps are welded to trucks now, to flatbeds. So
okay.
I'm like, okay, I'm on the right path. But what it took for me to do the patent was believing in myself, believing in what I was doing, a lot of research, but it's funding. Patenting is all about funding because you're paying the Patent and Trademark Office.
Mhm.
Like I did the drawings, I did the writing of the patent, but you still have to have a patent attorney look at everything because there's things like you have to be able to claim certain things.
Mhm.
So in order to do the best patent, the best way to write it is to use the phrase may or may not be.
Mhm.
So a lot of times in the patent, I would write, it may or may not be made of disposable or washable fabric.
Mhm.
It may or may not be made of bamboo, um, super absorbent polymers, cotton. It may or may not be a flexible product. It may or may not be a rigid product because you want to have the widest scope possible. You want to include all the possibilities that are available in your patent.
Mhm. Wow.
So
Wow. That's
it was
cool.
a learning experience for sure.
How important is it to believe in yourself?
If you don't believe in yourself, you will never finish anything. It's critical.
Yeah.
I think it's critical.
Is it just because you're just gonna just chicken out when it comes to finishing, or is it just because subconsciously something's going to happen and you're just gonna give up?
I've always been even as a child, I've always been the kind of person that I was curious and I had to know the answers to things. So I'm that kid that took things apart and I wanted to see how they worked. But I also am a big believer in not having regrets. Like I do stuff because I don't want to be an old person say, well, because I grew up around those people. I remember I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that, or I wish I did that. And I'm that person that I never want to have those questions in my head. I want to say, well, I tried it. It worked out. It was great. I had fun. What else can I try?
Yeah.
But I don't want to be that person that says, well, I almost joined the Air Force. I almost traveled the world. I almost had patents in my name. I almost wanted to go indoor skydiving. I don't want to be that almost type of person. I want to be like, I did that. And that's just something that's always been within me. And I think it's because I'm a reader. I read constantly like you do.
Mhm.
As a kid, we grew up really poor, and books, man, books were my way of escaping.
Mhm. What type of books do you like to read?
I love to read history. I love just about anything. I love minimalist design and container living. And so I like architecture and things like that. I mean, I'm a really curious bird, I guess, because I like lots of different things. I love muscle cars. I like to read about music. I like to read about uplifting stories. I like to read about people who have overcome adversity.
Mhm.
And I love science, anything to do with space and science. And I still have my subscription to the Nonwovens magazine. I keep up to date on the industry.
Hmm.
So I keep up to date on diapers, pads, and wipes. So that's why I posted a video a while back, a few days ago, about not flushing anything other than toilet paper.
Uh,
Don't do it.
uh, for the people who don't know, can you tell why?
Well, toilet paper is the only thing that is made to break down in your toilet. A lot of people, even flushable wipes, they say they're flushable.
Yeah.
They're not really, they don't disperse, they do not break down. And I suggested people put a wipe in a glass of water, see how long it took to break down. And I said that in the video, You know, like people are panicking. They're flushing tissues down the toilet. Tissues are not made to break down. They are not. They're made to blow liquids in and to
Yeah.
stay together.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference. Just because it's paper doesn't mean you get to flush it down your toilet. You might get away with it a couple of times, but it's going to back up. It
Mhm.
is going to back up. And nobody wants that. Whenever I can't imagine that plumbers, either they're making a lot of money or they're all stuck at home right now too, because
Yeah.
you do not want to have to call a plumber for that and then have to wait a few days until somebody can get to you.
They might be considered essential right now. I don't know exactly. That's a good point.
I would think it would be. Your plumbing is like a critical, essential part of your house.
What about paper towels? Which one would those be closer to, like a tissue or a toilet paper?
No, paper towels are worse. Do not flush paper towels. They're closer to cardboard.
The cardboard.
Yeah, don't flush anything other than toilet paper down your toilet. That is
Yeah.
it. No paper towels. And I even kind of made a little comedy about it, like don't flush paper towels, don't flush cardboard, don't flush paper towel tubes, don't flush corn cobs, don't flush anything. Don't
Yeah.
flush the size of a cardboard box. Just toilet paper. That's it. Toilet
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah. And then what kind of sports do you do right now?
Right now, I ride a trike, Trikke, T12 Roadster, which is the biggest one that trike makes.
Hmm.
It's made of aircraft grade steel,
Oh.
and it looks like a kid's razor scooter on steroids. There's two platforms for your feet. And the key thing about the trike, there are imitations out there. The key thing about the trike is the patent on the front. See, I read the patent on the trike.
Uh,
Is where the two platforms that they're called arms that you stand on. The arms go to the front fork, like a handle on like the kids' little, their little kick scooters.
uh-huh.
There's handlebars on it. But mine has 12-inch tires, disc brakes. I mean, it stops on a dime. It's amazing. But the patent covers the pivoting of the three gears in the front. So as I'm leaning, it's like skiing. Imagine skiing, downhill skiing on the sidewalk.
Hmm.
But you're to get it moving, it's all the body, the power of your body. To
Mhm.
get it moving, you take a couple of steps forward, step up with one foot onto the machine, and you go sliding forward.
I'm
And
gonna
that
draw a picture of it.
momentum. Yeah, there's a video. If you look for a trike video with Jimmy Evans, yeah. Oh, there we go. That's us.
That's
That's
pretty
it. That's a
cool.
half bike. That's not a trike, but that's like the kind of guys I ride with.
That's the trike?
That's a me mover. That's out of Denmark, and
Oh,
that is like walking upstairs but lifting your legs.
oh
So
wow.
that's a half bike. But my trike is like I said, a razor scooter on steroids. There is that video you were just going through. There is a picture of my trike at the very end.
The very end. You're holding out on us.
Yeah, it's at the very end. Well, I was showing off
Okay.
those machines. So mine is right next to my Mustang. You'll see the trike. It's a white machine.
This one?
Yes, that's it right there.
Oh wow.
And so where the two arms meet the front handlebar, that's where all the magic happens. That's where the three rotating joints work to make it, as your feet are on the pedal and as I slide to the left, the platforms that my feet are on also pivot to the left. They don't stay flat.
Oh.
So it's a great machine for your body because you're not impacting any of your joints,
Uh,
and it's a smooth movement. So it's like skiing down a mountain or surfing a wave or riding a skateboard. It's that movement.
oh wow.
Yes.
So, where can people find out more about you? How can they connect with you further?
I am on LinkedIn, just under my name, Ramona Patterson. I'm not on Facebook yet, and my website isn't up yet because I have a little technology block. I'm like nervous about it. So once we get shut down, I think that might have to be one of my projects is to get my website up because I don't have the money to pay anybody to do it for me. So I just need to, get out there and like barter some artwork. If someone likes my artwork, maybe we can barter,
Hmm.
and I can give them some of my artwork in exchange for them helping me. Because I've got the basic, I own the domains, I have the basic template up, but I'm kind of lost from there. I'm
Okay.
lost.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks so much for, coming on. I really appreciate you. And if, maybe someone watching this video can actually help you do that if they like your artwork and stuff. So that'd be really cool.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to reach out and, to connect with me. And I've been watching your stuff and liking your stuff. So, you know, I guess that should be on me too to reach out more. So I need to do better at that.
Okay.
But I'm really impressed by you. I think you're just an amazing individual. And one day I would love to hear you, take some of those guitars down and play us some of your music, because I don't know, I can see it in you. I bet you're just like amazingly talented. Nobody has those kind of guitars up there just for art.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you could do us a favor too, man, and share some of your music with us, because I think music is such a universal language. And I'm just like really impressed by how much you've accomplished and how put together you are and how intelligent you are. And you're just like a bright shining star on LinkedIn for all of us. And
Oh.
thank you for sharing you with us. So thank you very much.
Those are such great words. Do you see, that's why I like bringing great people on, because people are thankful. You can always tell what's in someone's heart, so I really appreciate you, Ramona.
Thank you, Bryce. Thank you. And I want to give a shout out to Shanae Murray. And I would love to connect you guys together, because I think you're in that same space in the medical field. So, what are we here for if we're not here to help each other out?
Yeah.
And, as soon as we get off this, I'm going to shoot her a message and, connect you guys together, because I think you guys have a lot in common.
Excellent. Great. So, to the people watching, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you want more interviews and content just like this to help you guys help more people and get paid what you're worth, I recommend you go check out my group called Uncapped Growth Strategies. The link either above or below the video. Have a great day, guys. Thanks. We're done recording in 3 and 2 and 1. Excellent.